Yes, he did call. He said, Pete Felder, we need to do something, and this is what I want done. Now, if you know Milton Davis, you know what he wants done is what he wants done. He'll say how he wants it done, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then he dropped it in my lap. He wanted new music written, choral and instrumental. He wanted a big choir. We had to gather that together. He wanted directors. He wanted organists. He wanted everything. So I said, okay, we'll try to give everything we can.
We had been given the mandate that whatever was done was to be great, not just good, but great.
There was some conception that Alpha has lasted for 100 years, and the next 100 years ought to have great music, and it was time to do some new things while we continue to preserve and advance all the great music of the past.
And what we did, we made sure that there was diversity. In the performances, we had everything from the classics to gospel to Lionel Richie, even the recorded music that was played before the luncheons and whatnot. Well, one day there might have been something classical, the next day there might have been some jazz, some blues, but we made sure that there was diversity in the music.
And it was wonderful because we had great poetry, we had great music, we had outstanding conductors. We'd put the best of the best of the best in front of us, musically as well as from a person standpoint and conductor standpoint. And it was just a matter of just making it happen. We were there for a common cause. Brothers were comfortable with each other. We understood the spirit behind what we were there for, and it was the Centennial. And no one else was going to make happen what we were going to make happen on those stages.
I finally wrote down ideas as they came to me, what a song ought to be.
My immediate concern was, to what will I be setting this hymn? And I wanted to see the poetry in advance for a number of reasons.
And I worked on it and wrote it and rewrote it. And finally I said, well, I know the composer of the music is going to reject it, and he's going to rewrite it.
When I read the poem, I immediately knew this is something I want to do. Not so much because of the rhythmic nature of the poetry, but the power of the poem itself. Brother Dr. Thomas D. Pauley III had written this magnificent poem, and it was one that was an epic poem that captured so much, not only in terms of the present circumstance of Alpha after 100 years, but looking back to ancestors that had paved the way.
So I heard that the Alpha chorus was called for practice on such and such a time, and they were going to practice the Centennial hymn. So I sneaked into the rehearsal and heard the song for the first time. And when I heard it, I said, my Lord, it is absolutely beautiful. And especially the final verse, which I remember that I wrote and rewrote several times, which ends with the word that free men shall stay free. And when they finished it, I clapped by myself. I was the only person there listening to it. I clapped like this. And the director, whom I had not yet met, Miss Uzi Brown from Morehouse, turned around and looked at me, and somebody said, that's Brother Pauley. He came down off the platform where he had been rehearsing and came to me and said, you're Brother Pauley? I said, yeah.
I greeted him warmly, and he greeted me back warmly and said, this is a wonderful job you've done, because you brought life to some words that I never knew could come to life in such a way as this by adding that element of music.
We're in Atlanta, Georgia at Morehouse College at the Ray Charles Auditorium, and we're here to record the music that was commissioned for our Centennial Convention.
Being here in Ray Charles, this is one of the very few top-tier music performance halls in the country, seated at an historically black college that has a profound music tradition.
The music that was generated based on the Centennial was unprecedented for any organization of this type. So it was very important that we come together, that the significant individuals who were here in various roles historically as well as those current, and all of the performers, the brothers, it was a necessary project, and I'm glad that it came to fruition.
Music is very important to the fabric of the fraternity because music is an international language. It speaks to you when mere words can't. It speaks to all of those crevices between words and stuff like that. So that has been a very integral part of this fraternity. It helps to strengthen our fraternal bonds together.
African American history is all about music. The black Negro spirituals were all about telling a story. They're telling a story that a slave master could not understand because it was code for those who uttered those words and sung those melodies. But it was also enriching and empowering for them. So music has always been an empowering thing for African Americans.
Alpha has historically had a great tradition when it comes to music.
So we are the most musical group, I believe, among all the sororities and fraternities. And we incorporate music always into everything that we do, into our steps, into our singing. We have multiple, many people in the organization who are musicians, and so they're really back to it's been that way since the fraternity was begun.
Yes, we started with a bass line of the Alpha music, the Alpha chorus that we've started assembling in the last 10 years as we performed at conventions. And so at those are opportunities where we get a chance to discover some of the music talent that's all over the country that comes into a general area. This one was one where we actually wanted to reach back and see those persons who had participated in it before, those persons who were new to it, who have been participating with us, some people who were local, so we could actually sort of make sure that we would do this in a cost-efficient way as well. And but all of these brothers, they flew in on their own. They paid for themselves to be a part of this experience.
I was here in 2006 when we did the initial performance of the song, and to come back is really exciting because, of course, there's a wonderful fraternal bond that we all experience with each other, but there's a special bond between the musicians.
I was in St. Louis, Missouri. I was walking down the hallways we're talking about history. I was standing and working in the school for the first black high school west of the Mississippi, Sumner High School, established in 1875 in St. Louis, Missouri. This is where Tina Turner, Grace Bumpry, Chuck Berry, all of those greats graduated from. So I'm walking through this hall's history, and then I get a phone call. And I look down and I see Milton Davis. This is the general president calling me directly on my phone. So I answered. He said, "Hello there, Brother Smith. Yeah, this is Milton Davis." I was like, "Of course I know who you are, sir." And he said, "We are going to immortalize that moment. We're going to attempt to immortalize that moment that we had at the Centennial, and recording this, the hymn to the founders as well as the fraternity hymn. And he said, and I need you there. I want to look up and see you on that stage. And I said, don't ask me unless you want it done. And I came running.
As a musician, as one who really enjoys the hymn, who loves being a professional musician, it's just nice to be around all these musicians on this weekend of all weekends, to be a part of living history.
So the process was to plan this where everything could be staged. So on Wednesday, the production teams arrived and they got a chance to assess what they needed to do and to set things up. On Thursday, the orchestra would come in and have a chance to sort of get its rehearsal time in, not held up by waiting for the vocal team. And the vocal team, when it came in, knew that it worked that it needed to do. So I think we, by staging things in and allowing each one, if everyone could come in and assess what they needed, and when the choral group came together with conductors, it was about making music. And so it was production, it was orchestra, then it was the choral team, and then ample time for each one to get its moorings about where things were.
When we called and said we needed to commission something great, something that was a gift to the next generation, something that would elevate Alpha in its 100th year, it was a no-brainer to call Ted McDaniel, because he is a gifted, visionary, creative individual.
One for the first trumpet.
And a replacement stand. This one's
And a
falling
replacement. What was an interesting aspect for me was I only knew maybe 4 possible members. That's not unusual. I get invited to guest conduct other groups, but this was going to be something special. This was Alpha Phi Alpha, and when we did this almost 20 years ago, I handpicked everybody. I knew who would be performing. I did not know who would be performing here, but I trust my colleagues with whom I was working, and I know the quality that they were seeking, and they knew I wanted nothing less than that. And in the instrumental world, it's all about the competition. You audition for absolutely everything, and I was trusting the recommendation of other musicians that this person would be a good trumpet player or a good French horn player or a timpanist, so forth and so on. So we gathered here. We had our first rehearsal on the 14th, on Thursday. That's the most important rehearsal, because that's where they meet me, I meet them.
Dr. Hughes Brown is a composer of many works. The work that he has done for Alpha is just a part of the work that he has, of the many opuses that he has composed in various genres. As the head of the music department, the School of Music here at Morehouse, he has been legend. He has done much work in the classical areas, instrumental areas, vocal areas. And so he is a scholar as well as a composer, as well as a musician.
This is really so very important to me for a number of reasons. I can remember the excitement that I had when I was first approached about writing music prior to 2006. But then when we got the call that there was going to be this effort to do this recording, everything was again, the excitement was renewed. And one of the big reasons for that is because some 18 or so years later, I am at a different place. We all are at a different place. There's a certain kind of richness of maturity that comes with living a little while that informs us of the significance of our own lives and the fragility of our own mortality, and to be able to come together again with some of those same people who were involved in that 2006 effort and to do this project has just been so wonderful for me.
Dr. Brown, yeah, he's a wonderful person. He was my chair for many years. And of course, sometimes I got in trouble and stuff, but I have the greatest respect for him. He's a wonderful musician to work with. He's always been encouraging. And when it was time to kind of reel me in, he would do that as well and stuff. But just a wonderful person and musician. Just an honor to work with him.
It's funny, a lot of the musicians can actually be preachers, and Dr. Brown is definitely seems like he could be one of those musical preachers.
Excellence is the best that we can bring at any given time in our lives. Excellence last week, excellence last night, excellence tomorrow will not be the same. There needs to be a new standard. Excellence is not perfection. So I want you to aim for a higher level of excellence, understanding that perfection is elusive.
And then, of course, I do not want to leave out Dr. David Oliver, who is one of the great organists, one of the great musicians, one of the great keyboardists in America. And he has played all over Europe, he has played all over the United States, and he is just a remarkable musician. And so when you have that talent ready and they're willing, you see what they can produce and you see the responsiveness to it.
So it's a full, circle moment. And as Brother Davis likes to say, this recording is going to be one for the ages. And I can imagine that it will be played at many of the programs and celebrations and events and even Omega services, for our beloved brothers. So I am just grateful to be able to witness this moment in time and to hear the beauty of our song and our history in such a grand manner. when I was elected general president and we were planning the inauguration, we proposed to do a rendition of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity hymn. And that was presented for the first time on the campus of Morehouse College, January 17th, 2009, during my inauguration. And it was really one of the first times that we had heard the beauty and the majesty of this beautiful hymn.
We hold ever aloft noble ideals and aims, carrying out earth's and heaven's grand command. Our true hearts ever strive success's goal to gain, that our fraternity's praises may be sung.
The brothers know when Alpha calls, we're going to do something great. We're going to do something worthy. We're going to do something that enriches. And if you're an Alpha man, you don't want to miss out on that.
To see these brothers come together in a short period of time and put this together, you would have thought that they've been practicing with each other for months. No, they just come together on a weekend and focus. That's the beauty about Alpha.
I definitely was impacted by the raw talent on the stage, performing these beautiful pieces, but it helps me to reflect on a continual basis the wealth and talent that is in Alpha Phi Alpha, and how significant we are and how special those brothers are. So it was really the culmination of many dreams today, and to see the men that I know, many of them, some new initiates, some newer, but some men that I've known and who were here when we sang and performed the original pieces 18 years ago, they were here today. And it's a source of pride, one of fraternal pride, but and brotherly significance indeed.
This can be used for Founders Day programs. It can be used at regional meetings, certainly be used at our national conventions, and it's very inspirational. I think that any member of the fraternity, or even a prospective member of the fraternity, hearing this music will get a sense of the seriousness, let's say, that Alpha is about and has been about for over some 100 years.
The memories, the history that is collected in music and in video, in film, so the future generations don't have to wonder, what did they do? They have it. They have first-rate information that this irrefutable. This is what the Alpha hymn sounds like. This is how you perform it. This is where it's appropriate to be played, at what events. This establishes that. That's important. If you're going to have traditions, it's important that you appreciate them and you know when.
The fact that we are making certain that this is a part of Alpha's present and a part of Alpha's future is what's significant about this occasion.
I think it's very extremely important that future generations see what we've done, and we've grown from the past. Brothers who have come before us, we learn from them, and so in 10, 15, 20, 50 years, they will look at this and listen to it and have a refreshed idea of what Alpha is about, excellence. And we can't reach perfection, but certainly we can strive for excellence, and that's what it's about.
We need to preserve that for future generations, because the more you know about Alpha, the more you appreciate Alpha.
You cannot step above the next level without having a level to step onto. And the level, in order to know where one has stepped, there must be a documentation so that we do not repeat and walk in circles. It is so very important for the work that you are doing and capturing this moment so that we can then carry it on to the next generation another 100 years from now, that we'll be able to look at this and say, look what they have done. Now we can take that into a next level.
We as a group combined can put this out so the world can hear it. Even the Alphas that are not born yet will be able to listen to this and feel the things that we felt while we were singing it.
And what I thought about most this weekend is actually my grandchildren, particularly my grandson. My grandson is now 10, and I hope one day that he will be a great Alpha man as well. And I can tell him stories about what happened here this weekend. And your pawpaw was actually a part of that history. Not only was I a part of the history that was made on the centennial of the hymn, but at the original centennial for the fraternity, I was there in a group of wonderful professional musicians, and we demonstrated excellence in music in this fraternity.
And so this is our gift from the Centennial to future generations, our gift to the American culture, our gift to the African American culture that has always uplifted and invigorated and shown compassion and shown passion and shown a direction and also given life and spoke life into people's yearnings to uplift themselves. So that is what I see in all of what we have done, and that is what the whole Centennial movement was about, and that is what this gift is about as we go forward.